Vitamin B Complex Guide Part 2. Vitamin B1. Did you know that vitamin B1 has two other widely used names? Thiamine is a name used in the US and aniron is the popular name in Europe. Thiamine, without the E, is also used to refer to B1. Vitamin B1 is important to your body's health. You probably have heard of beriberi before. It can have pretty severe effects on your nervous system, heart, brain, cellular health, and energy levels, to name a few problem areas affected by a deficiency of B1. Interestingly enough, a person with beriberi that has reached the point of barely being able to move will often respond to a B1 injection in just a few hours, to the point that they will be able to get up and walk again. Thiamine is important to the energy production system of every cell in your body. ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, is the energy currency that powers your body. There are a few pathways that your cell uses to make ATP, the major one being Krebs cycle. Without sufficient quantities of B1, your body is restricted in being able to produce the all-necessary ATP. Fortunately, especially in North America, you can get thiamine from your diet. You can get B1 from many foods. A few are pork, peanuts, whole grains and beans, legumes. There are other foods. This is just a short list for your convenience. White rice has the hull stripped from it, which causes the rice to become devoid of B1. This leads to high incidence of beriberi in some Asian countries, as rice is relied upon heavily as a staple food. Some seafood may actually inhibit the absorption of B1 in the digestive tract. Heat and radiation will destroy thiamine, and alcohol will interfere with its uptake from the digestive tract. Vitamin B1 is a water-soluble vitamin, which means that an extra supply is not stored in your body tissues. A fat-soluble vitamin, which B1 is not, would be stored in body tissues. Vitamin B1 must be continually obtained from your diet. Some symptoms in the early stages of thiamine deficiency include irritability, fatigue, apathy, abdominal pain, drowsiness and poor concentration. Later stages of thiamine deficiency are much more severe and can manifest in a number of ways. A few manifestations are tachycardia, fast heartbeat, vomiting, heart failure, weakness, itching, blue skin color, numbness and memory loss. Alcoholics, dialysis patients, HIV patients, congestive heart failure, CHF patients often suffer from thiamine deficiency. If you would like a more exhausting list of symptoms, risk groups and other information associated with B1 deficiency, try emedicine.com. Vitamin B1 is available at your local health food store and drug stores without a prescription. A B1 deficiency usually is accompanied by a deficiency of other B vitamins. Therefore, B1 is usually taken within a B complex and not usually taken alone. Supplementation for pregnant mothers should be done under the advisement of a physician. Vitamin B2 Riboflavin is a common name for vitamin B2 and was once known as vitamin G. You will see vitamin B2 described as riboflavin on the back of vitamin bottles and in other food packaging. An interesting and curious fact about riboflavin is that it is naturally produced by the bacteria in your gut. Although it may not be produced in sufficient quantities to prevent deficiencies. Intestinal production, however, can reduce the symptoms of a deficient state. Some experts claim that B2 deficiency is the most prominent nutrient deficiency in North America. Those who eat a diet largely constructed of refined and fast foods may be at risk. And of course, alcoholics are at higher risk of B vitamin deficiencies. Low-income individuals may also tend to be at higher risk due to diet. Problems with blood proteins may lead to deficiency. And states that block or reduce the uptake of riboflavin into the cell can also be responsible for a deficient state. Therefore, just having an adequate supply of riboflavin in your food does not necessarily preclude deficiency. Brewer's yeast and organ meats are sources that are high in riboflavin. Lower amounts may be found in milk, eggs, green leafy vegetables and some fruits. Riboflavin is very important in cellular metabolism, the process by which your body produces usable energy. It is important in forming the coenzymes that are necessary to make ATP, which is the energy currency of the cells. A partial list of deficiency symptoms include fatigue, sensitivity to light and dermatitis. Nerve tissue damage and retarded growth in infants and children can result from a deficiency. The role of vitamin B3 niacin. Vitamin B3 niacin is an essential vitamin for your body, and it is just one of the 8 water-soluble types of B vitamins. Nearly all of the B vitamin classes will help the body convert carbohydrates into sugar or glucose, which can then be burned to produce energy. Also known as complex B vitamins, B3 niacin are essential in helping the body break down protein and fat. Complex B vitamins also play an important role with maintaining muscle tone within the digestive tract, along with the health of the skin, nervous system, live, eyes, hair, and mouth. Even though a lot of people associate creative with the aspect of muscles and muscle tone, vitamin B3 niacin is as equally important, if not more important. B3 niacin is also important with getting harmful or toxic chemicals out of the body. It can also help the body produce different sex and stress-related hormones within the adrenal glands, among other parts of the body. The vitamin is also useful for helping with sexual dysfunction as well. This can be great news for those who have problems with pleasing their mate. Also very effective with improving circulation, B3 niacin can also help to reduce cholesterol levels found in the blood. Even though vitamin B3 niacin is great as a standalone supplement, it should also be consumed with foods that contain protein, due to the fact that the body is able to convert the amino acid known as tryptophan into niacin. The higher doses of B3 niacin, which are available only through prescription, have been proven to prevent and also improve a variety of different symptoms and ailments. Due to the high risk of toxicity, individuals should always consult with a doctor first, before they decide to start higher doses of B3 niacin. There are also niacin skincare products that are being developed as well, which contain anti-aging products, helping to treat acne and also aid in the prevention of skin cancer. A lot of dermatologists expect that these products will become really popular over the next several years. Even though they are still in development stages, research has proven them to be very effective when compared to the other types of products. The best sources for vitamin B3 niacin include beef, pork, turkey, beets, veal, fish, chicken, salmon, tuna, and peanuts. You can also get supplements that contain B3 niacin as well, which can give your body the amounts it needs. This is a very important vitamin, as it does a lot more for the body than most think. By consuming foods that contain it or taking the proper supplements, you'll get the amount of B vitamins that your body needs on a daily basis. Vitamin B5. The B5 vitamin is also known as pantothenic acid. The B5 vitamin is the most prolific of all the vitamins and is found in every type of food. In fact, it is impossible for a person to consume less B5 vitamin than they need. That means that there is no little possibility that a person can have a B5 vitamin deficiency. For this reason, there is actually no recommended daily amount that health professionals can state, as everyone obtains more than enough from their normal food consumption. However, even though there is no need to calculate a recommended daily allowance, it does not mean that the B5 vitamin is not vital for a healthy body and mind. In fact, the B5 vitamin is essential for turning food into energy amongst other functions. The B5 vitamin is responsible for taking the fats and carbohydrates into energy. Some B5 vitamin can be found in almost every food, whether it is animal or vegetable. Obviously, there are some sources of the B5 vitamin that are better than others, but a balanced diet will provide more than enough. The foods with the highest B5 vitamin content are organ meats, salmon, eggs, beans, milk, and whole grains. It is worth noting that the B5 vitamin is lost when grains are milled into flour and tends not to be added back in. Therefore, processed grain foods such as bread, pasta, rice, breakfast cereal, and baked goods are not good sources of the B5 vitamin. The B5 vitamin is the most effective when it is combined with other B vitamins, especially thiamine or B1, riboflavin or B2, niacin or B3, pyridoxine or B6, and biotin. Along with these other B vitamins, the B5 vitamin is an integral part in a number of processes. The most important of these is the production of energy from food that is consumed, and this is known as the Krebs cycle. The B5 vitamin is also required for releasing energy from fats. Interestingly, the B5 vitamin is also considered to be helpful in reducing stress. This is chiefly due to the fact that during periods of stress, the body produces more of certain hormones such as adrenaline, and these require the B5 vitamin. There are many theories as to the benefits of the B5 vitamin, but there is no need for the majority of people to actively seek out foods that are high in B5, as they are likely to be consuming far more than is needed already. There are no adverse effects to consuming too much B5 vitamin. Vitamin B6. The B6 vitamin, also known as pyridoxine, is one of the most versatile of the B vitamins, and yet the body only requires a relatively small amount. The B6 vitamin works closely with all the other B vitamins, especially niacin, folic acid, and cobalamin, and contributes to numerous functions in the body. Amino acids are converted by the B6 vitamin into proteins, and it is also required for transforming stored sugar within the body into essential energy. Basically, the B6 vitamin is essential for converting the proteins that are consumed into proteins that the body needs, and also for converting the carbohydrates from the form that they are stored in the body to a form that can be used for extra energy. The body requires a number of different proteins, and it is the B6 vitamin that ensures that the correct forms are available. For example, the B6 vitamin will create hemoglobin for carrying oxygen in the blood cells, hormones for regulating blood pressure, neurotransmitters, and various enzymes. The recommended daily allowance for the B6 vitamin is only around 2.0 mg, but this seemingly insignificant amount is used extremely efficiently within the body to produce over 60 different enzymes. The best sources of the B6 vitamin are high-protein foods such as eggs, fish, poultry, and meat, and it is also added to breakfast cereals and bread to ensure that everyone is able to consume their recommended daily allowance, even if they do not eat meat products. An additional amount of the B6 vitamin may be beneficial for the heart and immune system. B6 vitamin supplements are sometimes required by asthmatics and diabetics. However, it is important to be aware that large doses of the B6 vitamin can be toxic. As the B6 vitamin is found in many common foods, the majority of people receive sufficient amounts of the vitamin from their normal diet. There are some groups that may need to take a B6 vitamin supplement to ensure that they obtain the recommended daily allowance. For example, pregnant or breastfeeding women will need a slightly higher amount of the B6 vitamin to allow for the amount of the vitamin that is being absorbed by the baby, although it is possible to obtain the extra B6 vitamin from an increased consumption of high-protein foods. Strict vegetarians or vegans, however, and children who do not eat animal products may need a B6 vitamin supplement, as vegetables and fruits are poor sources of the B6 vitamin. Vitamin B7 Vitamin B7, more commonly known as biotin, is a water-soluble nutrient that is part of the B vitamin family. Help calm and maintain a healthy nervous system, and are necessary for key metabolic processes. Biotin is essential for the metabolism of carbohydrate and fat. A sufficient intake of biotin is important as it helps the body to convert food into glucose, which is used to produce energy, produce fatty acids and amino acids, the building blocks of protein and lipids, respectively, activate protein, amino acid metabolism in cells, regulate expression of genes involved in protein and fat metabolism. The European Food Safety Authority (EFSA), which provides scientific advice to assist policymakers, has confirmed that clear health benefits have been established for the dietary intake of biotin, vitamin B7, in contributing to normal macronutrient metabolism, normal energy-yielding metabolism, the maintenance of normal skin and mucous membranes, the normal function of the nervous system, the maintenance of normal hair. Vitamin B9, also called folate or folic acid, is one of 8 B vitamins. Vitamin B9 works with vitamins B6 and B12 and other nutrients to control blood levels of the amino acid homocysteine. High levels of homocysteine are associated with heart disease, however researchers are not sure whether homocysteine is a cause of heart disease or just a marker that indicates someone may have heart disease. It is fairly common to have low levels of folic acid. Alcoholism, inflammatory bowel disease (IBD), and celiac disease can cause folic acid deficiency. Also, certain medications may lower levels of folic acid in the body. Pregnant women need more folic acid to lower the risk of neural tube birth defects, including cleft palate, spina bifida, and brain damage. Neural tube defects are birth defects caused by abnormal development of the neural tube, a structure that eventually gives rise to the brain and spinal cord. Since folic acid has been added to many grain foods in the US, such as bread and cereal, neural tube defects have decreased dramatically. Vitamin B12 The B12 vitamin is just one of the essential B vitamins that are needed to maintain a healthy body and mind. Cobalamin is the alternative name for the 12B vitamin. The body needs the B12 vitamin for a number of different processes, including converting the fats, carbohydrates and proteins from all food that is consumed into energy. One of the most important processes that the B12 is essential for is to create healthy red blood cells. The prevention of heart disease relies on the production of healthy blood cells, and therefore the B12 vitamin is vital. The B12 vitamin is also vital for keeping the immune system functioning at its maximum efficiency. Not only this, but the B12 vitamin also works to form the protective covering of all the nerve cells in the body. The production of red blood cells is not the only type of cells that the B12 vitamin is essential for. In fact, all of the cells in the body require the B12 vitamin, including white blood cells and nerve cells. The white blood cells are an important part of the immune system, and without the B2 vitamin, the effectiveness of the immunity of the body to germs and viruses is heavily reduced. The nerve cells need the B12 vitamin to create the fatty layer that will protect them from damage. The brain cells are particularly open to disease and damage if there is not enough B12 vitamin present to form this protective layer. Even though the B12 vitamin is involved in so many essential processes, the actual recommended daily amount that a body needs is quite small. The fact is that the majority of people consume much more of the B12 vitamin than their body actually requires. The only issue is that the body cannot absorb the B12 vitamin very easily and has to create its own aid to the process. The intrinsic factor that the body produces helps the body to absorb the B12 vitamin that it needs from food, but this still amounts to only half of the total B12 vitamin available. A deficiency in the B12 is extremely rare in most people and is made even less likely because the body can recycle the B12 vitamin that it already has absorbed. A few groups of people may develop anemia due to a lack of B12 vitamin in their diet. Young children often have a problem getting enough of the B12 vitamin because they may be extremely fussy eaters, and it is important to encourage them to eat as wide a variety of foods as possible. This is not only the case with the B12 vitamin but is true for all essential vitamins and minerals. Because of the potential for side effects and interactions with medications, you should take dietary supplements only under the supervision of a knowledgeable healthcare provider. This video for information purposes only. Thank you for watching.